Welcome everybody, my name is Michael and today we're doing a video about cars. This is my personal channel, mainly cryptocurrency content, but the reason I'm making today's video about automobiles is because I work in the automobile industry. I sell vehicles, Infinities to be exact, and I've decided to start a separate channel for car related videos. I've got a fair amount of footage that's just been sitting there, some of it even 1 year old. So we're going to be posting that relatively shortly. Just wanted to do a little announcement about that. And one of my favorite topics is cars for tall people. And I thought that we should post it on this channel because this has been a major gripe of mine. I'm currently in a GMC Yukon, a Denali, really nice inside, except I hate it. And let's start with the first reason. I've got a bad back, so I like to sit up straight. When we sit up straight completely, you can see that I'm touching the ceiling. That's because it has a sunroof. However, in America, most cars come with a sunroof, unless you get base models or some special factory order. But when you're looking at pre-owned vehicles, good luck finding most luxury cars if you're looking for specific features that don't come in any trim except for higher than the base model, but you're looking for no sunroof. There is no sunroof delete package. You are going to lose 2 inches of headroom. Now, in some panoramic roofs, they open up top and you don't lose as much headroom, but it's still not as comfortable. And personally, I hate the whole sunroof trend because they leak after so many years. And even if they don't, there might be some wind noise. There's a lot of maintenance that goes into them, and I just hate the way they look. But anyways, apart from that, it takes away headroom, which right now, this is not safe. The reason it's not safe is because if there's any bumps, trust me, I drive a car where I'm touching right now, and if you go over railroad tracks, if there's speed bumps, if there's any random bump on the highway, which there's plenty here in Chicago, or potholes, or you have to suddenly brake and you jerk forward, you can either hit yourself here if you jump up, or you can hit yourself, not in this vehicle because there's actually a lot of space, but in some vehicles, it like ducks down and you hit your head here. And yes, in the chance of a collision, there's airbags and your seatbelt should work, but I don't want to leave with a concussion if I'm going over railroad tracks or something like that. I need to sit up straight because my back is really uncomfortable, but it's usually, most seats are kind of at an incline, a downward incline. So what you have to do is you have to adjust it so it goes up a little bit. So now you're level, except now I have to duck down because now I can't extend. Look at that. Look at that. If I'm fully extended off at an angle over here, well, I would be comfortable if I had more headroom. Now, my biggest gripe is actually not with the headroom, but with the legroom. We're in a ginormous vehicle, and it's not just this vehicle. Of course, it's any one of the GM vehicles that shares the same platform. So we're looking at now similar vehicles. The closest one to the GMC is the Chevy Suburban. And everybody says, oh, this is such an amazing vehicle. Tons of room, leg room in the front and the back. I don't know who you are, but I am 6'3". I'm not that tall in consideration to some of the clients I've seen, 6'7", 6'9", 7 feet. There's people, NBA basketball players, that need big cars. Americans are known for big things, and usually pickup trucks, such as, I'm not sure about the GMC, but I've been in Rams. Some of them have decent legroom. I've been in a Toyota Tundra. Some of them have decent legroom. It depends on the generation. Usually the newer generation vehicles have better legroom. The older ones are a lot smaller, whatever. But I like the fact that you have a ton of room in here. You've got a nice storage compartment. There's a decent amount of room back there. It's a large vehicle. But couldn't it go back a little bit further? In order to comfortably drive when I'm on the pedals, oh yes, revving it, I have to rest my leg against this, which that could be pushed a little bit forward there. And then if you see exactly, I kind of have to do it at an angle. So after a while, it gets really tired, my legs. And just like with my own vehicle, I have to drive kind of like that and then, you know, switch to the brakes. But the brakes are a little bit actually forward. So I'm touching with my knee the steering wheel. And I absolutely can't go back further, which is crazy. So I'm going front. I can't go back further. Let's go down a little bit. Nope, that's completely down. And here I am. I'm touching the steering wheel. Let's adjust it. Let's go all the way back with the steering wheel. Nope, I'm touching it. So that's not good. So I have to bring it up. Okay, I'm not touching it anymore, but this is at a really uncomfortable angle here for my arm, where I have to rest it here. But on long journeys, it's like that you get a little bit of a cramp here, right? Over here, there's German smaller vehicles, which we will be shortly inside one to show you the difference, where I can go a lot further back. But this one is actually the leg where I have the most amount of problems. So a pretty big vehicle from the outside. It's not the extended version, but if we go in the back over here, one of my biggest gripes is with the seats all the way back, I'm completely touching it. There's other vehicles that are smaller that even with the seats all the way back, I have still a little bit of leg room. Because what if you have a tall family? It's not just the tall driver. What if everybody's tall? Then in the back, you're completely uncomfortable. In the third row, which usually would fold in the back, it's just impossible. And this is moving. I guess that's already removed. But if we have a passenger who's really wide, I'm a pretty big guy both ways. You're going to want to extend your legs outwards. The problem is, part of my back problem started thanks to my legs. And then through the glutes and the buttocks area, it's like I have sciatica now. It goes from my back all down to my legs. So I'm really hyper aware because on long journeys, I want to be comfortable. And in the second row, again, I have to sit with my back hunched over. Not a comfortable experience for such a big car. And it's not just in a GMC Yukon. I've been in a lot of vehicles, trade-in cars, vehicles that are on our lot. First of all, at Infinity, the largest of the bunch, the QX80. We're looking at all the big boys. Again, no legroom. It's even worse than this. And no headroom. Although in some cars, it's sometimes better legroom, sometimes better headroom, but in many of these larger vehicles, it's not perfect. But in Cadillac Escalades, not a chance. Of course, very similar to the GMC and Chevy Suburban. I've been in a lot of American vehicles where I don't feel comfortable. I've been in a lot of Japanese vehicles, don't feel comfortable. 4Runner, I don't feel comfortable in many Jeeps. The Jeep Wranglers, forget about it. Anything where it's the body straight on the chassis, your knees are over here. And again, if they're bent like this, my physical therapist told me that's, again, how the back issues start. So what I have to do is I have to, lean back, but on longer drives, that helps alleviate some of the issues in regarding to headspace. But I eventually need to sit back straight because, again, I can't do that anymore. And there's a lot of people that need to sit up straight. The legroom, you can't really do anything about that because if you move the seat back, then the airbags are designed in such a way where they might not function properly. So here we have QX60s compared to the big boy QX80. That one we're going to get inside, and a Nissan Armada, same thing. And we're going to show you the legroom compared to a smaller vehicle. We're going into a lot of cars right now, and many of them are going to be smaller. I'm going to show you what proper legroom looks like from Kia, from Hyundai. Let's go. Okay, so there is one thing, actually. I'll take it back. Look at that. Look at that. It was so high up previously. I've never seen this in a car, any of the cars we had, but you're actually able, I was just in a test drive with a client. She showed me that you're able to move this back, which is awesome. It gives me a lot more leg room. It's not going to solve the problem entirely for such a big car, still off to the sides over here, but I have a little bit more leg room, so I'm able to extend. That's going to hurt a little bit less. Still not enough, but honestly, that feature itself is pretty cool. So someone a little bit shorter than me is definitely going to make good use of that. And I think that should be available in many cars, if not all of them. All the luxury and premium ones. And we sell luxury and premium vehicles all the time, and I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that in Mercedes. I haven't seen that in Infiniti. I haven't seen that in Lexus. So maybe some of the newer models do, but that is a really cool feature. So we're in the QX60 and compare the space for my legs. And yes, we're touching. And then compare all the way over here. As you can see, a decent amount of headroom, and we're up as straight as we can get. When we lean down, quite a bit more. Okay, so as we can see, we're all the way up, and we have a little bit of headroom now. The panoramic does go off to the side over here, so we do have a decent amount of space. This is now the QX50, a lot smaller of a vehicle, crossover, and a fairly decent amount of room for a much smaller vehicle, and that was the QX60. So compare that to now this. So we're going over a couple cars today. The Armada is one of them, Nissan Armada QX80, same platform. Another one is that Hyundai Accent right over there. We're gonna go through a Jeep and a Range Rover, a bunch of cars. I'm gonna show you. That's one Jeep that we're pulling up right now. Pretty big car, right? Well, getting in here, whoa, little tricky already. Alrighty, as you can see, let's start this puppy up. This is it. This is the largest in the lineup. And as you can see, this is how I'd be driving the whole time. Very uncomfortable. I can move the steering wheel, but where are my legs? Look at how close that is. And that is the furthest away. This is the lowest. Take a look at that. Take a look. This is, by the way, one of the largest cars that Nissan and Infiniti have. And the QX80s, for example, same size, can cost up to $80,000, $90,000. Very premium, extremely tiny in the front. However, the back, you have to admit, is very spacious. Pretty wide seats. I like that. I like the wide seats. They're awesome. But, come on, are you serious? So now I'm going to show you something very interesting. Very large Range Rover, the largest Range Rover they have, and the Kia Optima. This and the Kia K900, which is very rare, the luxury car, this has a ton of legroom, and it's a sedan. It's a full-size sedan from Kia. However, it's a relatively small car. This is a pretty big car, and when we get inside, same deal as the QX80. As you can already tell, it is extremely cramped, and trying to get in here, oh, again, this is an $80,000 car used, so trying to get in here, this is as far back as you can go. Pretty cool feature where you're able to slide this up front, the front cushion. However, being as far low and as far back as we can for a car that's well over $100,000, this has a little bit better legroom than the QX80, but it's not perfect, and I'm definitely hitting right into this. Uncomfortable. And then I have to have this down so it digs into me if you're a wide passenger. Seats are super comfortable, but just it's for a much smaller person. Headroom honestly isn't the worst. I like that this is adjustable from the back over here with a button. With the panoramic, it's a little bit better, but I still would be able to hit my head here. And this is the new gen. The old generation Range Rover, we discussed already that was tiny. I could barely fit inside. My legroom and my headroom was really, really bad. So now we're going to go into the Kia. Check that out. As you can see, again, this is not an SUV, but my leg is pretty far extended. For a sedan, for a base model Kia, I love it. I absolutely love it. Of course, I could always have more legroom, but again, this is not a luxury car. This is not what they were aiming for. This is just a practical car where also no sunroof. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect. And when we move the seat up a little bit, still got headroom up until we go all the way up, then yes, when we're leaning a little bit further back, alrighty. So again, a sedan where you're going to have less room, I fit comfortably. If it had a sunroof, then it wouldn't be as good. But the legroom, again, absolutely amazing. Not a luxury car. Compare that to a $100,000 or $80,000 car where I have a lot of trouble fitting in. The legroom is absolutely perfect. Now we're in the tiny Hyundai Accent. So this one, still a lot of legroom for the fact that this is a tiny car. No sunroof. I want you to check this out. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Hold up. This one's not a electronic adjusting one. Okay, now it's all the way straight up, like even a little too straight to be quite honest. And I'm still got a teeny tiny bit of headroom. Again, teeny tiny car, and I've got more room in here. Yes, it's not a great fit. Obviously, I would love to be able to move back a little further, but I have more room in here than a QX80 or Armada or a Range Rover. Now we are in a Volkswagen Tiguan. Volkswagen, Hyundai, Genesis and Hyundai, same thing. Kia, these are all brands that give you a lot of headroom and especially a lot of leg room. So again, panoramic, probably that's the reason. If we hit the edges around here, we don't want to sit too straight up. But again, Tiguan, so not full-size SUV, and I have a lot of legroom. It could be a little bit more, but you know what? This isn't as far out. It could be a little bit better, but honestly, I feel pretty comfortable in here. Pretty good stuff. One of my favorite cars right now for its price point, Hyundai Genesis or the Genesis G80. A lot of legroom, base model Hyundai Genesis, no sunroof, perfect. I fit perfectly in there. We're now going into a Volkswagen Golf, really tiny car, gonna show you that. And then we're gonna get into a Jeep Wrangler, one of the worst ones where I absolutely hate it inside. Let's go. Tiguan, e-tron, and then the Volkswagen Golf. Audi e-tron. It's a little bit tighter, but smaller car in terms of leg. Pretty good legroom, honestly, pretty good legroom. Again, for a much smaller vehicle, I would rate it a good 8 or 9 out of 10, although this could be a little bit further back. One of the most surprising ones, yes, I'm hitting this, but with the panoramic. If it didn't have the sunroof, I'd probably be perfect. Volkswagen Golf, check this out. It's a tiny car. Look at how much room I have. Oh my goodness. Again, teeny tiny car, and I have a ton of room, more than the QX80, that's for sure. Okay, I had a bunch more cars to check out, such as the Audi A8, where that's probably the perfect size. Could be a little bit better on legroom. The old S-Class had probably the most amount of legroom I've ever had, where I had to actually move the seat up. In terms of sitting upright in the Audi A8, again, a sedan, you have a decent amount of room with the sunroof. There's a lot more cars, a lot more keys that I have, but it's summer, I can't take the heat. So last vehicle we're going to show you right now is the Jeep Wrangler, one of the worst offenders of this, and one of the most popular cars out there, and not good for tall people. All right, we're currently in my Jeep, not in mine, but my favorite, the Jeep Wrangler. So when I'm on the gas pedal, brakes, I put this up all the way, and I'd be touching it. Headroom is actually decent because of this plastic bit, which is kind of the convertible top and whatnot, but the worst part is, like, I have nowhere to put myself, and my hips are kind of jabbing into this. The seatbelt's jab. So the seatbelt's jabbing, and on long drives, I have absolutely nowhere to extend it. Like, usually you can put it kind of off to the side. You can't here. The worst part is trying to get in, though. So, there we go. And then getting out.